Before the break, we brought you the history of Dairy Month to find out what's going on with dairy prices at the grocery store for both farmers and consumers. We now turn to Neil Melancon for this week's Bottom Line.
The Bottom Line is brought to you by the Cotton Board, strengthening the fiber of our industry. First South Farm Credit, financing rural America since 1933. And by Progressive Tractor and Implement, your Case IH and Kubota dealer.
If we're just talking about price, things are looking pretty good in the dairy industry right now. After last year's dip in prices, the USDA had several consecutive months of higher price estimates for dairy, starting in March. As you can see, prices have crept up almost $1 until we're looking at breaking that $20 per hundredweight mark sometime over the summer. A good part of this price increase is due to export sales, which are climbing back towards 2011's record highs. But that's about where the good news for dairy ends. For one, this price increase comes at the expense of production, which has been cut yet again. These cuts come from the national dairy herd being culled from last year's drought and this year's high prices for slaughter. Secondly, even though prices are climbing, the very structure of prices means that some farmers are being kept out of some profits. In this Farm Bill year, 2 senators have crafted a bill to change the pricing structure of milk to allow for farmers to sell their milk at a more consistent price. The current structure divides everything up into a class depending on what its use is, as you can see here. Milk processors use this class system to pay for milk based on potential use, but are not restricted to that use only, so they could buy milk in a cheaper grade and then use it for something in a different class, thus saving costs. However, many producers would like to see this eliminated for the all milk price to be used alone. Farmers in the Southeast especially would like to see a more regional system so they don't have to compete with much higher producing states like New Mexico and Wisconsin. The bottom line is, regardless of milk making a few cents more or whatever classification is used for it, producers need to be profitable, especially in Louisiana, in order to keep our consumer costs down. If all of our milk producers in the state go away, we'll be at the mercy of what other states charge to not only produce milk, Mike, but the higher fuel prices to get that milk to our grocery stores.
And Neil, one of the things we certainly always see around the summer is a reduction in our milk production here because, like everybody else in Louisiana, dairy cows don't like the heat either. Neil Melancon, thanks. And remember, you can listen to any of Neil's daily radio reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau Agri-News Radio Network. For a list of stations where you can tune in or listen online, click on over to our website, twilatv.org, and click on the LF Barn link. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Be sure to join us next week when A.J. Sabine will show us how Louisiana dairy producers are keeping their cows comfortable. Until then, you can watch any of our stories from this episode or past programs on our website. You know the address, twilatv.org. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope to see you again right here next week.